Hello, Mr. Jesse here with a tutorial by Aspire Art Studios. Today we are going to draw this cute little puppy here in her comfy home. Before we do get started, we are going to need a couple of items. So please go get a pencil, some erasers, your sketchbook, a Sharpie, and some color pencils. Preferably the Crayola 50 pack over here. We are going to use colors that are similarly found in that pack. So once you've gotten those things, feel free to also get some water, whatever you need to get comfortable, and then we'll begin. All right. And before we do start, just remember this tutorial will be for students from the age 5 to 7. Make sure that you have a good understanding of using basic shapes to construct your more complicated shapes, as well as the ability to use guidelines and understand overlapping. But after you've completed all of those things, feel free to sit down and we'll begin. So here's how we're going to start, alright, is because this picture is long this way, so it's hot dog, right? What we're going to do is we're also going to draw hot dog. So that means that I want your paper to be long this way, okay? So it has to be going long this way, not the other way around, alright? Once you kind of have that settled down, what we're going to do is you can get your pencil and we're going to lightly draw out some of the basic shapes. So just looking at the picture over here, I'm going to always start off with the biggest shapes, which is going to be the head and the body. So I'm just going to get kind of a gray over here and just very lightly sketch out kind of like a mochi shape, like that. Or you could do it oval, and I'm going to draw a line kind of coming down this way. I'm also going to draw a line going directly across the face, and that's going to be where I'm going to draw the eyeballs. After you're done with that, we can get kind of like a nice rectangle right here. You can round out the corners. And then push the chest up a little bit more this way. Just gonna round this out just a little bit more, kind of like that. We're gonna erase what we don't need, so you kind of have this shape. Then what we're going to do next, we're going to start adding the legs. So for the legs, we're going to have one kind of come out right here, and then we're also going to have one come out from the front. Then we're going to have one come out from the back. Make sure that your lines are overlapping into the body, because the legs come out from the side, not from the bottom. If the legs came out from the bottom, then it would be coming out of the dog's stomach, and that's not what we're trying to draw. Afterwards, you can get the other leg in the back, kind of like that, and now we have the base of the dog. Feel free to fix any mistakes along the way. So for example, the dog's behind was a little bit misshapen. Now I fixed it up. Let's get the tail in. Perfect. Now we have our dog. And make sure that your dog is centered in the paper. Alright. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to start dividing the floors up. So out from the chest over here, we have kind of this floor. Okay. And then what we can do next is we can start drawing in some of the bigger shapes. So in this case, it's going to be the bed. And then we're also going to do the table. And I use very basic shapes to draw this, because you only need basic shapes to make complex shapes. Afterwards, let's divide this part and this part, and then let's erase this line and this line. Just like that. And you can also erase the line in here. And then we're going to start getting our blanket and our ball. And you can already see over here, we already got a lot of the big elements down. Now that's very important when you are drawing, because you want to make sure that you place all the objects in the right place first, and then once they are placed in the right place and they have the right size, there's some nice breathing room for the dog to kind of sit in, you can start adding more details. Let's get that bone. Now use basic shapes again, so a rectangle, and then we can do 2 circles. Whenever you don't know how to draw something, ask yourself, how can you break that up into a basic shape? You can erase that. You don't have to erase every line right now, but if it helps you from being confused, it's probably a good idea. And we can start working on the face over here. This dog looks like a Funko Pop. So I draw the eyes, and I try to make sure that the eyes are distant from each other equally from the center. And then we can start getting this shape in and this shape. And whenever you're drawing something that's symmetrical, it's always easier to do it step by step. So left and right, left and right. Some bumps here. Just like that. There we go. If it's easier for you, you could also draw a line and then add bumps under it. And feel free to change the pendant. If you don't want a heart, you could do something else. Like maybe I want a diamond. That part is totally all up to you. This is your dog picture. It's okay to change a little bit of the stuff. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start adding bumps into the head. And then to the sides of the face. Careful of your mistakes. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw the ears. And for the ears, I draw 2 shapes coming down first, just like this. And I'll erase these just so I don't get confused. And then we can add some texture on the bottom of that ear. Just like that. Collar's too big. A little thinner. Now the nice thing is you should be using pencil right now, so it should be very easy to erase everything. Later we are going to add more texture with ink. Now, as of right now, we can just add a little bit with pencil on some important areas. This should be a little bigger. Afterwards, we can start doing our stripes. And it's a little bit easier to start from the right and go to the left, so you can kind of plan things out a little bit. As you all can kind of see, just like that. Clean up, clean up. Some wrinkles and then we can draw some spots. Afterwards, let's get this back border on the wall, kind of like that, and then you can draw in your stripes. And make sure the stripes are pretty equal from each other. There we go, just like that. If you mess up, it's okay, just erase it, try it again. As long as you're using pencil, you can keep fixing those mistakes. Some textures on the floor. Let's finish this up really quick. Awesome. And then some textures on the floor. And some lines for the feet. There we go. We have our first sketch done. Now I notice the eyes are a little bit off, so I'm going to fix that before we get started. The reason why you want to do that is you don't want to promote bad tracing habits. So just make sure that you get all the things you needed sketched in before you get started tracing. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go get my Sharpie. So if you forgot what a Sharpie looks like, you can go to the beginning of the video or actually here. So get this, okay, right here. This little Sharpie. Alright, and start tracing the areas that I trace. So if I look at this image, I don't see that there's a cross in the face, right? I only see these black lines. You're going to be tracing those black lines. I almost forgot about this right here. Let's finish that. Mine's going to be a little bit more inside, so I'm just going to draw it like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started tracing. So let's go get your Sharpie. And then don't worry about erasing your pencil lines. We're going to do that after. But what we're going to do now is we're going to start tracing over the lines that we plan to keep. And if you're a little bit off, that's okay. Try to stay as close as you can with your sketch, but you can also fix some things. Also do it if you're drawing it too fast. You're drawing it too fast if you're messing up, okay? So if you are messing up a little bit because from your tracing, slow down, all right? It's okay to draw a little bit slower so that your image looks good. Now for me, I'm doing this on the computer so I can fix this. Here we go. Just like that. Aw, so cute. Little tongue. There we go. Some pointy textures for the bottom of her ears, and then we can start doing this little mustache. There we go. Then this is where we can start adding a little bit of fur on some of the areas. Just like that. That's the foot. There we go. Some on the back. Some on the front too. The collar. Be careful making the collar too low. There we go. I also recommend using a thinner Sharpie if you can for the collar. If you don't have one, that's okay. Just be careful of tracing a collar with a thick Sharpie because you might accidentally color it in. And the tail. There we go. And then we got our puppy traced. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to start doing our background. So be very, very careful. Don't trace the wrong things. Start getting our textures in a little bit. This can actually go all the way up. There we go. There we go. Awesome. And let's start getting our blanket in. See, I was tracing a little bit too fast, so if I slow down a little bit, it makes it a little easier. Let's fix this up though. That doesn't look... There we go, that's good enough. And then our ball. There we go. And then we'll start working on... Oh, and then look at this. There's a small little mistake over here. So here's what we can do. So when you're tracing this part, want this to go all the way up like that. Instead, just like this, trace that over here. There we go. Start doing the wall in the back over here. Awesome. And then finally the bone and the textures. Now the wall texture in the back, I don't recommend tracing. You can leave them in pencil first and erase very, very lightly. But for the most part, if you don't trace it, it will help the dog pop out just a little bit better. So afterwards, you're going to get an eraser. You start erasing everything you don't need. Like I said, you can lighten up the back walls so that you can just kind of see it. So don't erase everything from the back wall. Just lighten it as much as you can without erasing anything. There we go. Just get rid of this. Get rid of this. You should be only left with the ink marks. So let's clean this up really well. There we go. Awesome, perfect. Okay. Now, once you're done with this section over here, what you can do is go ahead and find these colors or colors as similar as you can in your color pencil box. Okay, if you don't have the Crayola one, that's okay. Just find something as similar as possible. Feel free to pause this video while you are looking for them too. All right, and then once you have them, come back and let's get started. Okay, but just in case you have the video, just in case you have the Crayola like color pencils already, what you can do first is you can kind of get out your peach. All right, so for your peach, I'll be using this. The way you can kind of start out is you can start out by just coloring the dog with a peach. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Now, careful not to color over the other shapes, okay? Try to stay within your line. Get all of your white shapes. You see how I'm getting all of my white shapes, right? And make sure that you have a sharpened color pencil. That is very important too. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. Look at that. It's looking really nice. If you're a faster colorer than I am, feel free to skip ahead of the video. Now, if you do miss a part, however, because rushed ahead a little bit too fast, don't worry, you can always come back. It's a nice thing about technology. Whoops. And careful, right? Usually that wouldn't be okay, but since I am using the computer, I can fix that. There we go. Happy little puppy. Start getting the tail down. Now, if you do know how to add shadow, you're more than welcome to add shadow. For this tutorial, I am going to keep it a little bit more simpler though. Especially for the 5-year-olds, if having trouble doing any of like the shadows and stuff, you can just do a very basic coloring block in first, just like that. You can get some black. There we go. Black's the only color that's not in there, but the background's black. You start doing the eyes. There we go. Ain't she adorable? Now for the color, you can choose whatever color you'd like. So for me, I'm gonna change mine a little bit. I want green. And your pendant can be a little bit different too. Maybe I want to keep it white. So I'll do that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start doing the floor. Now, you're welcome to color these things however you'd like. But if you want to follow the example that I have, I believe the Crayola color pencil name is Mauve. We will be using Mauve to start blocking in the floor with. And something you can do just ahead of time is you can use this color and sketch out a shadow under your little pooch over here. Yeah. Actually based this drawing off of my dog. I want to see a nice cute little picture of her. There she is. And she's super cute. sweetest dog anyone could have too. Never bit anyone. It's kind of loud sometimes, but I mean that's cute. If you accidentally color inside of the circle, that's okay. We are going to be using a darker purple to cover it up. So if this happens, just let it go. And I do recommend coloring around your edges first, kind of like what I'm doing. And what that will do is it will make it a little bit easier for you to color everything else in. Oops, careful, don't do that. See, and now I can kind of go in with my color pencil and fill everything up. There we go. Perfect. Excellent work. Awesome. And we're almost done. There we go. And what we're going to do next is we'll probably start working on the background. So for the background, I used the sky blue. It should be the brightest blue inside of your Crayola box. And you can use a ruler for this part too for the background if you'd like, but I do recommend just trying to draw it in for practice. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace in the sides first and then fill in the middle. And want to make sure that they are going down and they're not slanting. As you can see, these stripes are all going down. Awesome. You can see the picture is pretty close to being finished. Awesome, there we go. Now what we're going to do next is let's get that shadow in under the dog. That might be a good idea. So for that, you can grab a darker shade of purple. Make sure to test these on a separate piece of paper if you're not sure what color they are. And what we can get started doing is let's fix our shape. You can draw this in with the darker purple or with pencil. Just be careful not to erase it. It's not going to work. So draw very lightly. If you mess up, at least you can cover it up with, if you draw it a little smaller first, at least you can cover it up with the purple. And then you're just going to fill this in, just like that. There we go. Let's make this picture a little bit bigger. Oops. There we go. Get all of your white spaces. Just like that. Awesome. Now once you're done with that, feel free to get a darker turquoise sort of blue, and you can start blocking this in. And then afterwards, you can get rather a cool gray or a silver and start coloring in the spots. Again, if you want to use different colors, that's okay. Next, we're going to get the light brown. Make sure to read the Crayola colors. It should say light brown. You start doing the table, just like that. And then you can get the tan, and you can start doing the drawer of the table. The drawer. Cool, how cute is that? Looks like she's almost done. Our version is a little bit different too. The one on the left has a little circular of a head. This one has a little bit more square of a head, but that's okay. Just try your best. And next you can get a dark blue, and you can start doing the stripes. And skip every other stripe, so we can kind of make an interesting pattern, and make sure that these stripes are smaller than the stripes on your wall. Alright, if they're both the same size, it could be very hard to tell which stripe is which. Just remember, the bed will have smaller stripes, just like that. Let's clean these up. There we go. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to start doing the blanket. And for the blanket, get a dark purple that's a little bit more red and less blue. And then you can fill up this whole space over here. And then you can get your harvest gold, which is like this golden yellow looking color. And you can start doing the blanket. And last but not least, give your dog a name and write that name. Write that first letter of the name in their bone. There we go. And that is how you draw a cute little puppy. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know at the end. Be sure to check out our website and Instagram posted at the end of this video, and our contact information for any questions. Thank you so much for watching. This is Mr. Jesse. I'll see y'all next time.